So a lot of young skaters dream to turn pro. That happened for you. Congrats. Take us back to
Thanks.
that. What was the festivities like? What was that experience like for you?
Oof. I've talked about this before, is that like I think I went pro at like the worst time of my life. Like the anxiety and like all the pressures of just like here I am, like here's this like gay skater, which I didn't necessarily always want to be known as. I just wanted to be known as like a skateboarder. But here it is, a bunch of like, a bunch of people's eyes on me, a bunch of interview, stuff, and then people sending me like hate shit on like the internet and stuff. It got really dark, and I was filming for a Thrasher part at the time, and that was also like I was putting so much pressure on myself. I was like going actually insane. And like in the middle of filming for it, I got like I was gonna do like a CCS shoot, and then the CCS shoot at Garvanza, and then I showed up, and then everybody was there, and I just didn't know how to feel. It just still felt kind of like crazy and weird, and I just didn't feel like it deserved it. And then now I feel like I've proven myself to myself, but it took a
Hmm.
minute. But it was great. I mean, obviously, like that was like a dream growing up, and it was like things that I was told growing up that like I would never achieve, like by, like my dad and like other people, and just like, the way that I was treated in like just a skate park in Orange County. So it was like great, but it didn't feel necessarily the way that I thought it was going to feel. But it was great, and I've come to, learn to love it and accept it and be proud of myself. But it took a minute. I think I was just going through a lot at that time.
Yeah, that's it's cool to hear you say that you proved it to yourself as opposed to like people that might have been hating or whoever the
Yeah,
outside, voices. What do you think it like? What do you think changed to where you were able to be like proud and hyped that you accomplished that?
Q is for Cal.
Hmm. That was
My Q is
crazy.
for, yeah, that part I think is where I was like, okay, I think I think I feel good about this. So yeah, it took a minute.
Hmm. I feel like
Um,
that's not an uncommon feeling, especially like nowadays with there's like so many brands and like lots of pro skaters. Like I feel
and
like that.
everybody's fucking good at skateboarding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody, like there's children like 8 years old that do crazier shit than I am. You know what I mean?
I
I'm just
know,
throwing
man.
myself at shit,
Yeah.
like, and you know, um, but yeah, I just have a lot of fun, and that's what I think I've been doing a lot more recently, is just having fun skating and not thinking about like what I have to film for this or if I have to film for this. Just like having fun and skating and like being parts of like little crews, like Sneak Dis, and like Late Night Stars and stuff. Just like crews within skateboarding, which I think is like, I don't know, helped inspire me to like learn new things and like,
Hmm.
I don't know, stay inspired.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point, though. I feel like we've been asked this via email before, where it's like, what is being a pro skater? This was probably a year or two ago. It's like, it's harder and harder to define as time goes on. Cause, like you said, there's 8 year olds that are gnarlier than like top pros, but that's not necessarily skill, isn't always necessarily what like controls the day nowadays, right? Like, there's so much more
Yeah.
to it. So, but,
Mm.
anyways, you
I'm not
made
sure
it.
there's a definition anymore.
Yeah. I think I ended up saying that if you could sell shit with your name on it, you're pro.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess.
I don't know,
That
but
makes
I don't
sense.
love that definition, but it's like I don't know how
Yeah.
to define it exactly anymore. It's so
Hmm.
tough.
Yeah. For sure. I think there's stuff within skating is just getting so like, competition based, and then there's
Hmm.
like street, and there's like some in between, but I feel like, I don't know. Pro skating is interesting. It's an interesting life too. Also, I'll tell you that much. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Very confusing.
Hmm.
Like financially, it's confusing. It's all over the place, but it's great. I'm so grateful, and I'm so stoked, and I feel so like honored and like blessed. I'm not like bummed on it at all. It's just it's very confusing at times,
Hmm.
navigating it all,
Yeah.
Hmm.
especially as a queer person. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, I don't know if you wanted to get more into it, but saying that you were getting like hate and shit at the time, like that's such a bummer. But
Yeah.
it's the reality we live in. But I hope that's kind of calmed down, or I don't know if it's any better than it was at the
Oh
time.
yeah. I mean, people, no matter what, there's gonna be somebody out there that like fucking hates me for just existing, you know? And that's like that's their own issue. It has nothing to do with me. Now I just kind of laugh at it or like make fun of them or like say crazy shit to them that's like I'm not gonna share here. But yeah, it's gotten a lot better and I think people just don't I don't know. It's different coming from me as opposed to like other people within the queer community, you know, and like the queer and trans community. Like they get way more fucked with than I do, you know. I feel like people don't really want to fuck with me, which is like kind of sick. And
Love
and I
that.
like that. I like
Yeah,
that a little bit, you know. But yeah. It's chilled out a lot. But it was
that's
like
good to
people
hear.
would send me like scriptures and shit and tell me I'm going to hell and I'm like,
Jesus
"Girl, calm
Christ.
down. It's not that serious."
Yeah.
You're the
Oh,
only one thinking about what sex I'm having. I'm not thinking
Yeah.
about the sex you're having, you know what I mean? So,
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Ryan the Beagle slipped his leash and bolted into Burger She Wrote on Beverly Boulevard, causing chaos. Patrons screamed, a waiter flung a plate of hand-cut fries like a frisbee, and someone yelled, "Is this a raccoon?" Chef Nuge bursted out of the kitchen wielding a T-bone steak like a sword. "Stand back," he shouted. "I speak dog." He knelt, presented the steak like an offering to a god, and Ryan immediately sat, drooling but peaceful. Turns out, Ryan was choking on a piece of hot dog earlier until the steak miraculously dislodged in mid-bark. He hiccuped, burped, and licked Nuge's face. The mayor gave the steak a medal, and who made sure a T-bone steak was in a burger restaurant that day? You know who did. CHPO brand, the worldwide leader in sunglasses and watches. Doing it for dogs, and you know they're doing it for the people. You talked about it a little bit already, but your band Toad, how was it created and where'd the inspiration come from?
so ICP, Slipknot, and System of a Down are like kind of like the main influences. So it's a lot of like alt metal styles. And just like face painting clowns and like I grew up very into like Slipknot and like all those like Mudvayne, all those weird bands that dressed up because they were like freaks, you know, and like Corn and all that stuff. So um also took it into like kind of a musical theater aspect, which is kind of you know, Panic at the Disco-esque, like visually and like lyrically and kind of giving it a narrative. But I met 50 Grand at a party and then we just became friends. And he produces like like all of it. And then like I mean, we both produce it together, but he's like the one on the computer and I'm kind of like the buffoon that's like all over the place. Just like the clown, you know? I'm like the buffoon. He's like the ringmaster, you know what I mean? So it's a funny combo because I'm like my levels are up here. He's like, you know, he's pretty chill. I'm like all over the place, you know, and we just started a band one day and called Toad and we figured it all out and it's just, you know, like we're just having a lot of fun, you know. We just produce music that we think is, you know, missing within music and like try to keep a narrative and like storytelling through music. Um, Instead of like keeping it pop, we try to take it into kind of a niche market, but also having kind of like the core aspect of like metal, but then also like ballad songs. So we're just all over the place. It doesn't make sense, which we want to keep it that way, you know?
Yeah,
So yeah, that's Toad.
that
Nice.
sounds
And
wicked.
we dress up as weird creatures. I'm a weasel and he's a bunny, so you know, I'm the drunk weasel, he's the ringmaster bunny. That's what